Starting to see the participants go up. Great to see you, everyone. Just heads up, it'll take a few minutes till we start, and where questions can be asked here in the Q&A or in the chat. And Q&A is better for questions. For the chat, in the meantime, I think it's just introduce yourself. Say who you are, what you're working on, and where you're from. So then we can get to know each other. Yeah, I see all sorts of fireflies also joining here now. Let's hope we'll have more humans here writing. Amos, I think you sent a host and panelist. You have to change it to everyone. Here, I'll start. All right. Philip Tanner from Deepchecks. Hi, everyone. All right. So those of you just joining now, we're gonna give it another few minutes to let everyone join, and great to see you. Nice to have we have here Gia and David from the AWS team, and myself and Amos from the Deepchecks team. And we'll be started in a few minutes. Gio, how are you doing? What's the weather like where you are?
It's actually getting cold, which is kind of new for Dallas. We get really hot weather 11 months out of 12, but yeah, this month is pretty cold. But we're coping.
All right, great. David,
By the way, can you see my slideshare?
what's that again?
Can you see my slideshare?
Yeah, we see it. All right, everyone sees it.
Okay. All right, cool.
David, I think you sent a message and I got the host and panelists. You have to hit the toggle to send to everyone.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
All right, great to see more and more folks joining from all around the world. Please use the chat to introduce yourself. Tell us a bit about yourself, where you're from, and we'll start in a few minutes. So, David, where are you now? Where are you talking from now geographically?
Yeah, I'm from Seattle, Washington State, and the weather, it is a pretty cold and rainy, which is a typical early winter weather for Seattle. But yeah, I can endure it because I've been in Seattle for more than 20 years now. Very familiar with it.
Right. Some people say you have to walk around all the time with an umbrella in Seattle just in case.
Yeah, but no one put on umbrella here. If you are wearing umbrella, they think that you are the tourist here, not the native resident here. Yeah, because we don't use umbrella here.
I got it. You just have to
Yeah,
Aquaman. Uh,
yeah.
yeah, everyone here that's joining from all around the world, we'll be starting in just a couple of minutes. And thank you so much, Robert. Thanks for putting your mail here. Also, Robert, nice to meet you, and good luck with your legal startup in New York. And Adam, nice to meet you. Hi to the couple of note takers that also joined here. Glad to meet you as well. Uh, yeah, Michael from Texas. Hi there. Barak Or from Massive AI. Nice to meet you. Well, I'll be starting in a couple of minutes. Ask any questions here in the Q&A. Yes, and Caleb Dilu, tuning in from Washington State, USA. Anyway, it's always amazing with every webinar. It's amazing to see people from all around the world. Yeah, and Barak, great to see the intro again. Divi from Earth. Yeah, I wonder what other planet it would be if it wasn't Earth. Will there be a recording and notes afterwards? There will be a recording afterwards. Yes, I mean, we always like to add in some wrong information to the recording just to incentivize watching live, but yes. All right, so I think we're ready to start. So I'm Philip Tanner, CEO of Deepchecks. I'll be speaking later on a bit, but I'll hand it over to Gia from AWS. So maybe I'll just share a bit about the team that's going to be speaking today. So I'm Philip, co-founder, CEO at Deepchecks, Philip Tanner. With me for my team, I have Amos, our VP R&D and he's doing a lot of the actual work around the product that we're building. So you're getting a front row exhibition of what we're actually working on. And then we have our amazing colleagues from AWS, both David O, that's Senior Gen AI Specialist at AWS, and Jia Yu, Principal Gen AI and ML Specialist at AWS. So we're going to be talking about building trustworthy AI agents, combining AWS SageMaker and Deepchecks, and hope you'll learn not just about the technical aspects, but also about some theoretical aspects for how to go about it. So without further ado, Gia, feel free to take it away.
Yep, thanks a lot, Philip, and big welcome to the webinar. I'm going to be speaking very briefly about SageMaker AI and talk about the partnership we have with Deepchecks, and then I'm going to hand it over to David, who will be doing a deeper dive on how you actually operate Deepchecks on the SageMaker AI ecosystem. But I will start by talking about Amazon SageMaker AI is a machine learning platform that helps simplify model building and fine tuning. For example, we can help customers select a foundation model and fine tune it with their own data set, and then deploy that model in production to serve your applications. But more importantly, scaling these operations across many models, many projects for traditional ML, Gen AI models, and also agents with automation and governance. Now, when you look at a typical life cycle for models and agents, there are obviously multiple personas involved. And we see a lot of frictions across these personas and teams. This is where ops and governance really can come in and help. So you have different personas like data engineers, data scientists to machine learning engineers, and governance officers. If you look at what these folks do, you start with data engineers that will do data preparation, knowledge-based curation, data indexing, and having that data accessed by a software engineering team, a data scientist who's going to come over and do some prompting, right, training or fine-tuning and agent development. In this process, they're going to be looking at tracking these experiments, tracking these agents to make sure that the dependencies and lineages are well understood, and see whether they can be automated. Because as new data set becomes available and new techniques are being used, you want to make sure that you can automate these pipelines and reproduce the results, whether it's agents or models. At this point, you're going to be moving on to a really important aspect of the life cycle, which is evaluation. You always want to make sure that you can evaluate, you can trace and debug your models and agents, capture input from domain expertise to make sure that your agents and models can be governed and evaluated in an optimal way. And of course, once the agents and models are evaluated, you want to move on to the governance phase, where a governance officer is going to look at all the evaluation results, look at the lineage, making sure that how the models and agents were built are understood, right? They're transparent and they can be reproduced in production. You want to have, again, continuous and secure deployment. But also equally important, once they are deployed in production, how can you continue to trace it, evaluate it, and debug it if they underperform along the life cycle, right? And all the toolings are centrally managed and integrated securely with each other, which is really important to avoid fragmentation of different tools and experiences. So in this webinar, we're going to be focusing on a particular partnership between SageMaker AI and Deepchecks, where customers can get the best out of both worlds. So Deepchecks is managed by SageMaker AI, and it provides industry-leading capabilities around model and agent evaluation, tracing, and debugging, which you're going to be seeing quite a lot today in the demo done by Amos. And then it helps improve model and agent quality during both the development, experimentation, as well as the post-production phases. Together with SageMaker AI, it really provides the end-to-end life cycle that I was talking about earlier. So going back to the lifecycle picture, you can see that there are a number of tools that SageMaker offers in this space, tailoring for different personas, like SageMaker Pipeline, SageMaker ML Flow, Studio, Model Registry, and Project to streamline this process. You can also see where Deepchecks come in during the evaluation and governance stage, providing the tracing, evaluation, and user feedback analysis. And also after agents are deployed, continuously providing the evaluation and tracing post-prod, right, to make sure that the models and agents are continuing to operate as expected. So together, we believe this partnership gives our customers the ability to streamline the entire life cycle with ease. Yeah, so with that, I'm going to pass it over to David and talk a bit more about the partnership.
I think
Yeah.
GM, maybe
Yeah, I'm
GS
going to
stop
share
sharing and
my
then
screen.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing.
Yes, I can share my screen. Yeah, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Great.
I'll just say for 1 second for anyone joining late, welcome. We're starting with AWS with David and with Gia and David, and we'll move on to myself and Amos from Deepchecks team soon. And feel free to ask questions in the Q&A section.
Yeah, absolutely. So as Gia mentioned during the model and agent lifecycle management or workflow management, customers are mainly seeing these challenges. The first one is getting the right tools and right solutions from the market. And definitely customer already has existing tools and solution experiences, but they may not be the catching up with the latest and the greatest tools from the market, which is evolving very fast. So definitely that is something what we can help with the customer for their pain points. And second one, once they find the right solution and tool, it is very important that they can deploy and upgrade based upon the roadmap and feature set, and also managing it with a fully data governance as well as security consideration. And this is another pain points and customer challenges. And last one, but most important one, is definitely the security, to making sure that whatever running for the lifecycle management of the model and data lineage is within the security requirements and security domain, which could be, for example, like VPN for AWS. We want to make sure that customers' challenges for this security is also addressed through the SageMaker partner AI apps, which Gia briefly mentioned. So the first one, we are hosting and residing and supporting operating partner app, including Deepchecks within the fully managed and secure domain, what we call as a SageMaker domain, which is very similar to AWS VPN, but with a more specific domain for supporting model lifecycle management as well as data lineage and all the workflow, along with partner AI apps like Deepchecks. And second one, because we already included partner app like Deepchecks within our SageMaker model lifecycle management and workflow, customers can the most seamlessly and frictionless user experiences and customer journey through the SageMaker AI UI, such as a Unified Studio, as well as SageMaker AI Studio. From initial model build, as well as model evaluation and model deployments, and the model monitoring after deployment as a full end-to-end life cycle. And since we provided a fully managed environments for partner app as well, users can directly access partner app without any lengthy or cumbersome procurement or security compliances or approval processes, because it is residing on existing SageMaker procurement processes, along with some of the additional marketplace for partners app license, such as Deepchecks. So this definitely makes customers' adoption to full model and agent lifecycle management as well as partner AI app. So with that, I'd like to give very brief demo about how SageMaker Studio UI can support partner app from the discovery purchase as well as to the usage and through the access to the Deepcheck application itself. So audiences might be already familiar with this SageMaker Studio, but we are having SageMaker Studio, traditional studio, as well as newly released SageMaker Unified Studio. Both in traditional studio as well as in unified studio, we have a menu called partner AI apps. And from these partner AI apps, customers can find different best of breed solutions for the model evaluation, model monitoring, as well as guardrail. And definitely user can select Deepchecks to purchase the license. Mainly, I'm starting with a free tier for trial. And once users select this Deepchecks from the UI and purchase it for subscription, definitely they can find Deepchecks in their UI once they go to Studio. So partner app, after partner app, user can go to Studio and user can go to the right domain for their studio to open the studio. And since once user already purchased the license and also make it deployed in the partner app UI for the SageMaker Studio, now user can find Deepchecks partner app icon here, right? So user can select Deepchecks icon and user can directly go to Deepchecks for entering to the Deepchecks application. And from here, it is a very similar or crossover, a little bit more advanced than the traditional Deepchecks as because we provided all the features collaborating with the Deepchecks to support most latest and greatest feature for model evaluation. And from this point, I want to hand over this one to Philip and Amos from our Deepchecks friends.
Thank you
You're
so
on mute.
much. Yes. So thank you so much. So before I dive in, I want to start off with a quick survey just to see kind of, who's here. So the question I just launched in the survey is, what is the current development stage of your LLM-based application or AI agent? So the options are conceptualization and design, development and testing, production and deployment, or optimization and scaling. So I'll let that run for a while, and in the meantime, I'll start to give an initial intro. And as I mentioned, from our end, Amos is going to be the main course today. All right. Uh, I'll show just a couple of slides and then I'll kind of take it from here. So this is the session we're having today. We'll be talking about building trustworthy AI agents. You already saw the SageMaker part for, how to, get deep checks within SageMaker. And of course, there's so much that's being offered with SageMaker, also in other areas, Bedrock, et cetera, et cetera. And because of this interesting collaboration, you can see what Amos is going to share within your SageMaker account, meaning we don't need to be approved an external vendor. IT, security, legal goes through. I think it's really special, but that doesn't tell you about the value. That just tells you about the problems we don't cause that usually are caused. So I'll dive in a bit to the value. So basically, when you're building a Gen AI app, there are only three layers that I claim are a must-have. One of them is the model itself, obviously, right? Otherwise, it's not an LLM-based app. The second thing is the tools, knowledge, and so forth, an MCP server, whatever might be giving knowledge from an external source, not needed for every use case, but for many of them. So if you have a few projects, statistically, one of them will need them. And then there's AI evaluation, it's a really hard problem. And the differences between different approaches and solutions can really cause a 10x in issues today. Like you can get a lot faster, a lot better, a lot safer deployments when you do it well. So let's just talk a bit about Deepchecks AI evaluation, what we do, but of course you'll see it hands-on through Amos. So one thing we do is deep evaluation. We have standardized performance metrics along with proprietary models. So we built our own small language models. We have our own research team. We have multi-step NLP judges. We have the ability to do granular evaluation. LLM is a jury where a few judges are kind of voting together. There's a lot built in into just having more accurate and deeper evaluations. Then we have a whole flow for auto scoring and insights, where we have high-level analysis, comparing versions, detecting issues that come up, which problems exist, and you'll see some of this, and evaluating continuously in CI/CD and production. And then in terms of the flow itself, then our philosophy is to give a sophisticated engine, but to enable the type of value where you don't need a very advanced, Python developer or AI engineer to be able to get to do a lot of the tasks. Because we believe that a lot of the information over time is accumulated by the business analysts, product managers, and in general the domain experts. So this is a very high level about what we do, and I'll let Amos do the main course and come back with a couple of pointers at that. And 1 second before Amos, before you start, I'll end the poll and share the results. So we have here 38% are in conceptualization and design, 44% in development and testing, 6% in production and deployment, and 13% in optimization and scaling. Actually, for this session, which is a little on the advanced side, I did expect a bit more at the later phases, but it's great to see that 60 something percent are already within their Gen AI or LLM journey and not just kind of initial interest.
Yeah. So thank you, Philip, for the introduction, and thank you also, Gia and David, for the high-level background on what this partnership looks like, and even more importantly, on the partnership itself. It's a pleasure working together with AWS. So I think let's go a bit briefly on what I want to showcase today. The goal here is to showcase the value that Deepchecks can provide for anyone who's developing an LLM-based application, but specifically more designed for agent use cases. So what we've done is we've built an agent, like a really simple agent using Crew AI. It's a couple of dozen of lines of code, so it's really easy to dive deep into it. And we'll just do it quickly, go over the code itself. And we'll also see how easy it is not only to find issues with Deepchecks, but also to integrate Deepchecks into this simple agentic system. And the spoiler alert, there will be some issues that we're going to find, but that's part of the demo. And we're going to showcase how Deepchecks is used not only to showcase that there is errors, but also to guide you hand by hand with our deep expertise and experience on solving these types of issues to actually fix the issue, even if it's quite hidden and not as straightforward as it might seem at the beginning. So let's do a brief introduction on our what is the agent example that we've built. Basically, the goal is to create some content. As you can see, LinkedIn and social media today is full of different blog posts that are AI generated, but we want to do an AI generated content that is better than everyone. And we want to do it using not only just a single LLM call that calls the LLM, please write me a blog post, but we want to allow the different agents to work together and review their work and edit it and to make it a lot better. So as I said, we're going to use the Crew AI framework. We also support LangGraph and any other popular agentic framework. So if you're working with something else, then be not afraid. We have 3 agents and 3 specific tools that we've built. We have the content creator, which is kind of like the standard LLM call that we would have used to build, to create this content like in a naive manner. But we also gave it the web search tool. We're using Serper in this case. And then we have the content reviewer, which receives the result out of the content creator, reviews it, and suggests some type of edits. It also does fact checking, so that's why it also has access to the web search tool. And we have the content editor that, of course, uses LLM and web search tools, but also has its own editor tools to take the input article or blog post and fix the tone, match it more to the audience, improve the hook to make it more appealing for the different audience that it's supposed to be appealing to. But it also has the ability to rewrite entirely the blog post if the situation is too grave to be saved. So this is where our editor has a few different abilities. So now let's dive deep into the code. But before we dive into the code, we're going to go through our SageMaker deployment. This is our SageMaker deployment here at Deepchecks, and we have our studio. I've already opened it, and we can see the Deepchecks application already installed. But we're going to, before we open the Deepchecks Deepchecks application that is run inside my SageMaker VPC with all my data guaranteeing and all of these cool features that are really appealing for big enterprises who has a high awareness on data security, we're going to open the Jupyter Lab notebook, where I have here a couple of paragraphs to showcase this multi-agent workflow. We start with simple configurations, making sure we have the right versions of the Light LLM and Crew AI, as well as the right configurations for the AWS. You can see really simple, naive environment variables that we need to add, the app ARN, the Deepchecks API key, and kind of that's it.
Just 1 second. Just 1 second before I almost dives in. I don't, for some of the folks here that are a little like newer to the space, I don't know if you realize how exceptional this is. Almost always you have this big trade-off between working with one of the big cloud vendors or one of the bigger players of AWS, and colleagues, or work. You're getting it completely via AWS. So Amos is now going to show the features, but I can't articulate. I can't say how unique this combination is. That you almost just casually clicks within the SageMaker and then gets this up and running.
Yeah, and we see that with our customers as well, that they're really enthused about this. Anyway, as I said, the setup is really naive, like a few lines of code, not even code. Yeah, it's just setting up a few environment variables, and specifically
Amos,
here. Yes.
Ask in the chat. Could you increase the font size by
enlarging
of course. Screen? Yeah.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, our eyesight is not as good as it used to be, but here I have a huge screen, so for me it's a lot easier. Let's do not that much, so we'll be able to see. So as I said, I hope now it's better. We can see the configuration, different configuration between AWS configuration, Deepchecks configurations, and the specific Serper API key. And now we're going to set up the crew. And the first step we're going to set up the crew is we're going to build the editor tools that we're later going to give for the editor. We have the hook fix or hook improver to improve the hook or the opening of the blog post to make it more appealing and to make sure that we get the clicks that we're looking for. We have a tone adjuster to make sure that the tone is matching the target audience. And we have the content rewrite, which gets specific issues and fixes them inside the blog post. So once we run it, I've run everything in advance because most of it is taking quite some time and we don't have that much time in this webinar. So I ran everything in advance. Once we have all of the tools ready, we can start our crew. I'm sure any of you who worked with Crew AI, you can see how simple it is. And you can see like the agent creating the content writer agent with like the goal and the backstory and the tools. We have like here the Serper dev tool, the agent of the content reviewer and the content editor that we also give the editor tools that we've created earlier. And we also define the tasks of each agent, the writing tasks that is assigned to the writer, the reviewing task that is assigned to the reviewer, and the editing task that is assigned to the editor. And it gets the context of the two different tasks as well. That's also a nice, it's an important thing to notice. Anyway, the next thing is that we're going to do is start the Deepchecks tracing. And here you can also see that the tracer provider is extremely easy to incorporate into your system. It's an import and single line of code where you put your host, your API key, and the app name that you want to upload the data into Deepchecks. You also have the version name and which environment types. Here it's evaluation because we're going to do this demo in the evaluation environment. But the same exact line, you just simply change this eval into prod, and then all of the data will get to the production environment, which is used to the monitoring part that Gia mentioned. Here we're still looking mainly at the evaluation part, but the change of the integration is exactly the same for the production, only changing this small configuration detail. Now we also built a run batch function that allows us. Yeah, sorry.
Just about that line of code, I want to add another comment. So we didn't have this until a short while ago, a few months ago. What we did in the past when supporting agents, we'd still need to send many explicit API calls because we have such a sophisticated system that you'll see soon for evaluating. This is pretty new, where we're streamlining, getting all the different steps and everything from this one little line of code. So when you see the system, I think you'll be shocked to see how much we're getting out of this, one little line of code.
Yeah, thank you. And now we're just running the batch. This is like completely utils. It depends on like how we're building the input. And we can see like that the workflow is ready to run the batch. I'm not diving into it because it's just like running over the rows and just calling the agent. And now let's do a test of a single input where we have we define our model, in this case 3.5 Sonnet. And the topic is why just build stuff is the best advice for new developers, which obviously the audience will be junior software developers and coding bootcamp students. And we're just creating the crew, kicking it off and printing the results. And now we can see we have a really nice blog post that is talking about how you should just build stuff, especially if you're a junior developer, running through the code. So let's get back to the presentation. And
Amos ask in the chat, can you share the notebook link?
Yeah, we'll in a couple of days, we're going to publicize everything, publish the entire notebook as part of our documentation. So stay tuned, and we can update later once it's publicly available in our docs. We'll have everything, including like screenshots, and it will all be available for everyone. Thank you for the question. I think that's a good one that I should have mentioned earlier. Cool. So now that we have the code is running, but now what? I mean, we've ran it once, but I mean, I'm not sure how can I know that it works well? I mean, it did create what I wanted it to create, but I don't know, is it good? Could it be better? What happened in that run? I just got an input and an output. It's really high level. And if I want to improve it, I don't know what I need to do to improve. So now my next step is to use Deepchecks. And as we already uploaded our information to Deepchecks, we get all of this, as Philip explained, all of this out of the box. We get a swarm of evaluation agents built of state-of-the-art SLMs and multi-step NLP pipelines that are being aggregated as a mixture of experts. And all of this in a standardized way. I mean, this is really easy for the deployment, for the development cycle, but the next step will be like to do a multiple version and then put it inside perhaps the CI/CD pipeline and the production monitoring. And every step on the way, it will look exactly the same. It will be exactly the same models, exactly the same information, and you'll have everything you need at your fingertips, and in a very standardized way and a clear way to make it helpful to improve your agent. And we're going to dive into the system soon to showcase it. And another thing that Philip also mentioned is the fact that you don't have to be the one who's written the code to use the system. You can be the product manager or the QA that goes over the production pipeline to make sure that there's no drift and that everything is working properly. Or you can be the developer who's doing internal iterations on the eval and the evaluation environment to make sure that everything is working. So now, after a lot of words, let's see the system itself. So as yeah.
1 second. As Amos starts talking, I launched the second poll for this webinar. So the question is about agentic evaluation, and of course, not everyone's doing agentic workflows yet. Some of them have different systems of different sorts, but sometimes it's pretty clear, even if it's done somewhere else in the organization, and so forth. So the question is, how are you currently evaluating your agentic workflows? Option number 1 is relying on an LLM as a judge. Number 2 is building an internal eval pipeline. 3 is using a third-party SaaS solution. 4 is manual evaluation. And the last one is nothing yet, just getting started. So I'll let it run for a while. Please answer the survey, and most will continue with the demo, just to be interrupted in another minute or two.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. So what we're going to do here, we're going to load the data that we've prepared in advance, because we ran here a single example, but now we're going to we want to run multiple samples. So we have, sorry for it jumps. Yeah. We're going to run a 31 different samples where you can see, like, we have the topic, the context, and the audience, and we had the run batch that goes over this data frame and creates the different different articles that we want. You can see here we're setting up the tracing, just that function that we built earlier. We wrapped it up a bit for the demo, so it will be clearer. But generally speaking, you can just add it easily. And we're running all of these results. Now you can see we have 31 successful articles created, and we get sent to the Deepchecks platform to see what are the results. So let's do that, and let's open the Deepchecks platform. So as you've seen with
1 second, I'll share I'm sharing the results here. I'm sure everyone's biting their nails off from curiosity. So 30% are relying on LLM as a judge. That seems to be the most popular option in the tie, with nothing yet, just getting started. Then we have building an internal eval pipeline at 26%, manual evaluation 15%, and using a third-party SaaS solution 0%. So let's try to change that today. Well, you'll see a demo now. Hope you see this difference in experience, and we can talk after if there's some interest.
Yeah. I think the fact that a huge part of the population does not even test their LLM-based applications is something that we see a lot in the market when we talk to prospects and customers. Actually, prospect, because customers are already evaluating using our system, and I think that's like a really cool thing that we're changing in this company. Anyway, so I said this is the Deepchecks platform. We have 3 main components here: the agent summary that shows how many average tokens that we have per agent interaction and the average latency of it. We have like the overall grade that our application got, which I have to say is a bit disappointing. I mean, the article that was written seemed okay. I don't know why it's so low. I'd expect it like being high in 80s or perhaps even 90s. But anyway, we have the Deepchecks platform to make sure that we know how to improve it. We can see like the data that we've used. We have 31 sessions. In each session, we have multiple agent interaction types, LLM interaction types, and tool interaction types. The roots are just like to unify them. And we have our main agent properties where you can see them here. I've gathered like the selected few just to show. And if you're not sure what any of them mean, we can just hover and we have like a short description of it. When we dive into the sessions, you can see all of the inputs that I put into the system, where we have like, here, this is the sample that we've used. Write a 100 to 300 word blog post about why just build stuff is the best advice, et cetera, et cetera. And we can see the final output that we got earlier. But now what we also can see is that we can see the different steps that our pipeline did to get to that result. We can see that it started from the content writer doing some work, and then searching the internet for a different type, for different resources. You can see it opening Reddit or other different type of Quora or different type of sites, and then sending the data to the reviewer. And I think one of the interesting things here is if you go to the full prompt, you can see that the full prompt is so much larger than what we've put in the input. The input was a really short line.
Amos,
It was,
excuse me.
yes.
Sorry, chat question. Can you enlarge your screen to see the
Oh,
fonts?
sorry.
It's too
Yeah,
small.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense. Hopefully, hopefully next time I won't need, you won't need to ask me to do this. But anyway, you can see the full prompt that has a lot more tokens actually than the input, and this, a lot of them is, most of these are generated by the agent framework, Crew AI, and you can get here visibility on what exactly is happening in your system. I mean, when you saw the code, the good thing about these frameworks is that they abstract a lot of the configurations and a lot of the things that you do, but you lose the visibility. And here you gain back the visibility, and you can understand exactly what's happening step by step, of moving from the content writer to the content reviewer, to the content editor, et cetera, all the way to the end. You can also see certain attributes that you get, like the key, the ID, the processing status that it had, the amount of tokens, the latency, et cetera, and of course, all of the different properties. So now let's get back to the overview, and let's try to deep dive and understand why our agent got this low score that we don't want. And you can see that the main issue is tool coverage. And let's go back to what the tool coverage means. It gives us a score from 1 to 5, which here it got 3.32, which is quite low. You can see on the plan efficiency and the completeness that it got much higher scores. And the tool coverage measures how well an agent child responses addresses the agent's overall goal. I mean, how well the tools that were used put us closer to the end goal that we had. Let's click on it, and we can see the different distribution of the score. We can see that there's not a really nice distribution. I'd like to see a lot more interactions on the right side of the scale and not so many on the left side. So let's see the lowest values here, and we'll view more. I think the zoom in did a bit of a trouble on the UI. But anyway, we can see here that the content editor got a thumbs down based on the tool coverage. And I can see here there's some explainability, reasoning on why the tool coverage is so low. Only intent to perform some improvements is present, but no actual improvement in the content. Okay, so we can see that the content editor, actually from the content editor, all of the interactions almost get a bad review. And the reasoning is that nothing changed. So perhaps our editor is not actually working. So let's see another thing. Let's go into the tool, and you can see that the runtime of it is very, very short, which is kind of raises suspicion. You can see the runtime of the web search is much higher. And if we go to the output of this hook improver tool, we can see, okay, I can see the issue right away. There is an issue, an error in the running of the tool. A hook fix tool is missing 2 required position arguments, post an issue. Okay, I'm not really sure what are the arguments that I need and how should I fix it. That's not really, I mean, it's helpful for understanding what is the issue, but how can I fix it? Luckily.
Wait, one second before you maybe go back for a second. What just to clarify for a second, all those thumbs up and thumbs down that you're seeing on the side, these are all automatic. They're created automatically, and the only thing we did was that one little line of code of give a hook to Crew AI, and I think that's what's special here. Same thing with LangGraph, same thing with other frameworks that are coming out. So you're getting now all the steps. What happened? What was the latency? What was the how many tokens? What got thumbs up, thumbs down? This thumbs up, thumbs down is done by our swarm of evaluators. So you end up having a village of virtual people looking at at all these interactions from different angles and giving you the bottom line score. And that's what Amos is going to kind of show now.
Thank you. So we have we now are in the stage where we know there's an issue. We know that the tool is not being called well, but I don't really know how to fix it because I don't remember the code I've written. It's not that much code, but I don't remember it anyway. But then again, Deepchecks is here to help you. And there's a fourth part that I ignored earlier, which is the agent insights. You can see. And the first insight that comes to attention is the insufficient tool information. You can see the Deepchecks already analyzed the data, already went over all of the samples that were inserted, the a couple of hundreds of interactions in the 31 sessions that we've uploaded. We went over it and we found the issue, and we can see that the agent does not receive sufficient information from the tool to achieve its goal. Okay, what am I supposed to do about it? The agent misunderstands what information its tools can provide. In this case, we suggest refining the tool's description. Okay, so now this is a lot easier. Let's go back to the code and let's look at our descriptions of the tools, and we can see that the descriptions are really the descriptions are really poor. We don't have type hints and we don't have the proper doc strings. So what we're going to do, we're going to just add them. And here you can see exactly the same tools. Nothing actually changed in the code. I mean, once you're writing code, you always say that it's important to add the type hints and the doc strings, but up until recently, it didn't really change the way the system works. And here you can see that these missing descriptions actually caused an issue in our pipeline that was first invisible because you couldn't see it happening. You got an answer, you could think it was the correct answer, but it wasn't the ideal answer. And what happened is because the tools weren't used, then actually we did the entire pipeline, but we only got the initial drafts that we could have gotten with a single LLM call. So this is like a major issue in my pipeline that I had no other way of seeing it. But now I see it, and now I'm improving it, and I added these doc strings and the type hints, and I'm rerunning it again, and now we're calling the version enhanced. And I'm also while I'm here, I also want to run it with like a few different models. You can see like I'm setting up what the version name is, so I don't mind changing it, and I'm using Nova Micro if I'm more token aware or latency aware, and Claude Sonnet 3.7 to see if I can get it better by improving the model and making it using a stronger model. And now I can jump into the version screens and see all the versions that I've uploaded. You can see that the number of interactions is the same. And you can see like the amount of interactions that were annotated. Almost all of them were annotated by an estimation and none of them by the user. And you can see the scores one by one, and we can choose the specific property that we want to appear here. But let's dive deeper into the enhanced version, and we can see, okay, already a dramatic improvement from 78 to 88. But we also can see that for any of you who remembers that we're using a bit more tokens now and having a bit more latency, which makes sense because now we're actually using the tools that we wanted to use earlier. And we can see also what happened if we're using a stronger model alongside our improvements. We get like really high scores because the strong model is better, but we're paying here in tokens and latency. So I think another really nice feature here is that you get the visibility of the trade-offs. Now I fixed the issue, but now I also want to play with the different models or different prompts. I can get the trade-off on what is the performance, latency, and tokens of, or which actually translates into cost of each of my versions, and I can take really conscious decisions on how to move forward to production, or if I want to take more versions, or if I want to change things more drastically. And I think here you get like the sense of from visibility to evaluation and fixing the issues, and then running through production and being able to run the same things over and over again. And I think from here, back to you, Philip.
All right. Thank you so much, Amos. 1 second. All right. So I'm sure you got a lot of the flow from now. I know it's always condensed in a webinar, but the feeling that you're getting, top tier a swarm of agents evaluating where all you start off by giving is a little hook, and it kind of, makes you go through the whole flow of starting quickly, right away getting the value, and just progressing to test many more versions, compare them, and deploying faster. That's the whole kind of value. But Now, we talked about the fact that just working with a third-party vendor sometimes is really hard. So here we have this unique architecture within SageMaker where we're just available to get within the partner AI apps, which is what was showcased both by David and by Amos. And this means that a lot of times we don't need the whole procurement process, which is a headache. At Deepchecks at a high level. The idea is that you do the configuration up front and then you sleep well. So we're seeing from our current clients, we're seeing there's a significant increase. This is probably the metric I'm most proud of in the number of versions that are compared. So kind of like, in the classic AI ML, people say that Gen AI doesn't really have test sets. So in the classic AI ML, there were things like hyperopt and grid search, where you had many ideas. You would go over the different versions and just choose the best and work with those. So our clients are doing that, where you can create 100 prompts and go with the best version. So 15x versions compared is the top metric that I think leads to the others. But then we have a 75 decrease in hallucinations, low quality responsive, just from the healthy iterative process, which is collaborative. Everyone has the same UI, clear metrics. It's kind of it's a game changer versus the kind of sending CSVs and Slack or Teams kind of metric. And then obviously much shorter time to production, both because of the actual work that's done, but also because being able to share both the method and the actual data with all the relevant stakeholders. So everyone around the table kind of signs off about what's considered a success, and then you actually see that if it happened or it didn't happen. So what does it look like if you're interested in starting with us? Usually we have a few different plans and deployments. Here the focus was on one type of deployment. We also have others, but we kind of align across what will a deployment look like. And then we get a sample of the data of a client, and we have an expert from Deepcheck's team that reviews it, sets up an auto scoring mechanism, so forth. And then we do a combination of giving an audit to the pipeline, showing problems and issues that we found in a white glove implementation, along with a tailor-made demo and access to the system after we've already set up the auto evaluation for your pipeline. So this is what a proof of value typically looks like when working with Deepchecks. Uh, just to make it more concrete, and as we like to say at Deepchecks, with great AI comes great responsibility. So for any questions, thoughts, there are actually two ways for reaching out with this collaboration. If you're interested in doing this a collaboration through AWS, then you can also reach out to your local your local rep that's working with you, or your local account executive, so forth, and just mention, and they'll know how to reach us. And the other way is reaching out directly, either to info at Deepchecks, to myself, to any of my colleagues. We're pretty loud also on LinkedIn and not that hard to find. So I don't think we talked, I don't think we addressed all the questions that may have come up. So if there are any other questions, feel free to send them. You can also send them offline. And I think for now, I think that's it for now.